The great council chamber floated in orbit around the blue giant star, Altheron. It was a place built to show power. Giant marble columns stretched into the high ceilings. Flags of every member civilization hung proudly along the walls. At the center stood the round table, where all leaders gathered. Today something different was about to happen. Commander Aiden Cross stood straight in his polished black uniform, the Earth emblem shining on his chest. His face was calm, but his dark eyes were sharp. Beside him stood a group of Earth's top diplomats and scientists, all silent, all watching. High Consul Virex, leader of the Galactic Council, rose from his seat. His greenish skin glowed under the lights. His voice echoed around the chamber. Earth representatives, we are ready to begin the next phase of discussions, he said with a smile that looked more like a threat. Aiden stepped forward. His voice was steady, clear and carried across the silent room. There will be no next phase, High Consul. Earth withdraws from the Galactic Council, effective immediately. Gasps filled the air. Whispers rushed through the assembly like a fast-moving storm. Virex narrowed his eyes. You cannot be serious, Commander Cross. Earth's membership is a privilege. Aiden didn't flinch. A privilege that came with disrespect, broken promises, and exploitation. Humanity will not be treated as second-class citizens. We have chosen to walk our own path. Several council members leaned forward, angry and shocked. One alien ambassador, a thin blue-skinned being, hissed, "You will regret this. Earth is nothing without us." Aiden turned his gaze on him, firm but calm. "We shall see." With a nod, Aiden signaled his team. Together, without another word, they turned and walked out of the council chamber. Their footsteps echoed loudly, the sound of a new beginning. Virex stood frozen, his hands clenched behind his back. He watched the humans leave, not knowing that the decision he had once laughed at would soon shake the entire galaxy. Outside the station, Earth's ships waited, sleek, powerful, and ready. As Aiden boarded his vessel, he looked back once at the grand station. He felt no fear, only determination. "Prepare to depart," he said to his pilot. "Yes, Commander." The engines roared to life. One by one, Earth's ships pulled away from the council station, flying into the vast stars. Earth was alone now, but they were free. Weeks passed after Earth's departure. At first, the Galactic Council acted as if nothing had changed. Meetings continued. Deals were made. Plans were discussed. But soon, small problems started to appear. Without Earth's engineers, repairs on key space stations slowed down. Ships that once traveled safely through human-patrolled sectors were now vulnerable. Pirates, smugglers, and raiders quickly noticed. Trade routes, once busy and protected, became dangerous. Merchants complained. Smaller colonies begged for help. Some worlds even began to starve. Inside the council, panic grew. A private meeting was called. Only the highest-ranking members attended. High Consul Virex sat at the head of the table, his face dark and tired. "The situation is under control," he said, voice low. But Ambassador Kryn, a sharp-eyed being from the Krylos Empire, shook his head. "No, it is not. Our ships are attacked daily. Supplies aren't getting through. Without Earth's patrol fleets, we are exposed." Others nodded. Angry voices filled the room. They were too important to lose. "We should have treated them better. How do we get them back?" Virex slammed his hand on the table, silencing the room. His claws scraped against the metal. "We are the Galactic Council. We will survive without them." Ambassador Tava, a wise elder from the serene world of Olari, spoke softly. "You underestimate humans, Consul. They will not beg to return. They are stubborn, proud. We must act before it is too late." The council argued for hours. Some wanted to threaten Earth. Some wanted to ignore them. But others, the smarter ones, realized the truth. Without Earth, the council was weaker, divided, vulnerable. In the end, Virex leaned back in his chair, thinking hard. His pride battled with his fear. He hated the idea of crawling back to humans, but he hated the idea of losing power even more. "We will send a delegation to Earth," he finally said. We will speak humbly, offer them better terms. The council members agreed, though bitterness filled the air. Meanwhile, on Earth, humanity was thriving. Without the council's interference, new technologies advanced faster. New alliances were forming with independent worlds. Earth was no longer a junior partner. They were becoming a force that even the mighty Galactic Council could not ignore. As the council ships prepared to head toward Earth, Virex muttered under his breath, "We built this council. We will not let the humans destroy it." But deep down, he knew the truth. The humans were already rewriting the future. The council's best ships entered Earth's orbit, shining like silver arrows against the black sky. They came not with weapons, but with gifts. On the ground, in the Great Hall of Nations, Earth's leaders gathered. Flags of every human nation hung proudly. At the center stood Commander Aiden Cross, tall and calm, his hands behind his back. The council's delegation arrived in a smooth, sleek shuttle. High Consul Virex led them, wearing a ceremonial robe lined with gold. Behind him walked ambassadors from 20 powerful worlds. They all wore polite smiles, but their eyes were desperate. Aiden watched them closely as they entered. He could smell the fear behind their false confidence. Virex stepped forward and bowed low, something he had never done before. "Commander Cross," he said, voice silky, "we come in friendship. We regret any past misunderstandings." Aiden nodded but said nothing. Virex continued, "The Council recognizes Earth's great contributions. We wish to welcome you back, with full honors." Ambassador Kryn presented a shimmering orb, filled with maps of new trade routes, offering Earth control of valuable systems. Ambassador Tava offered a treaty scroll, granting Earth special privileges never given before. Other ambassadors bowed, whispered sweet words, and made promises. Aiden listened. He stayed silent as they spoke of riches, of power, of respect. But he remembered the years when humans were mocked in those very council halls. He remembered broken promises and empty words. When the council finally finished speaking, the hall grew quiet. Aiden stepped forward. His voice was steady and strong. "Words are easy," he said. "Trust is not." Virex smiled thinly. "We are offering real change." Aiden shook his head. "We will not be bought. If Earth returns, it will not be as a servant. It will be as an equal. We demand a new treaty, written clearly, with guarantees. No tricks, no broken promises." Whispers filled the hall again. Some council members looked angry. Some looked embarrassed. Virex forced a smile. "Of course, we are ready to discuss terms." Aiden's eyes narrowed. Not discuss, accept. The message was clear. Earth was no longer asking. Earth was demanding. The council delegation exchanged nervous glances. They had expected humans to be eager, even desperate. Instead, they found strength, unity, and pride. The meeting ended with no agreement. The council left the Hall of Nations quietly, their gifts untouched. From a high balcony, Aiden watched their ships leave. Beside him, Earth's president spoke softly. "They thought they could bribe us." Aiden nodded. "They still don't understand. We're not what we once were." Above them, the sky was filled with stars, and Earth's growing fleet, standing watch. The game had changed, and this time humanity held the cards. The days after the council's visit were tense. Earth's leaders met again and again in long, heated discussions. Not everyone agreed with Aiden's hard stance. Some politicians, eager for quick riches, argued for accepting the council's offer. "They're offering us power and wealth," one senator said. "We would be fools to refuse." Others, mostly scientists, military leaders and old diplomats, supported Aiden. "They abandoned and humiliated us for decades," a general said. "Now they come only because they need us." Aiden stood silently during these debates, listening carefully. He knew Earth's future was hanging by a thread. One evening, he visited the Defense Research Center, hidden deep under the Alps. There, Earth's best scientists showed him what had been built since their independence. New, faster-than-light drives, New plasma shields that could deflect even Council weapons. New ships, sleek and powerful, each carrying technology no other world had ever seen. "We kept working, Commander," said Dr. Mara Leon, chief scientist. "Without their rules holding us back, we advanced faster than anyone expected." Aiden ran his hand over the smooth metal hull of a prototype ship. "We're stronger now," he said quietly. Mara nodded. "Much stronger. We don't have to fear them." Leaving the facility, Aiden looked out over the valley. The sky was clear, filled with stars. Somewhere out there, the Council still thought Earth could be bullied or bribed. They were wrong. Still, pressure at home was growing. The media broadcast endless debates. Protests broke out in some cities. People were tired of being isolated. They wanted peace. They wanted safety. Aiden understood. He didn't blame them. Freedom always came with a price, and sometimes that price was loneliness. Late at night, in his small office, Aiden sat alone thinking. He thought about Earth's future. He thought about the mistakes of the past. He thought about the millions of people counting on him to make the right choice. He knew it would be easier to accept the Council's terms, but easy was not the same as right. Finally, he stood up and looked out the window at the stars. "Better to stand alone with dignity," he whispered, "than kneel with shame." In the morning, he would send Earth's final answer to the Council. It would not be what they wanted to hear. The Grand Assembly was set. The Galactic Council, desperate to show strength, demanded a final public meeting. Aiden Cross agreed, but only if the talks were broadcast across the galaxy. Billions of beings, from hundreds of worlds, tuned in to watch. The meeting took place on Verdanus, a neutral station floating between Earth's space and Council territory. The hall was massive, built of glass and silver, with stars shining through the ceiling above. Two long tables faced each other. On one side, the Council's delegation dressed in rich flowing robes. On the other side, Commander Aiden Cross and Earth's representatives, dressed in simple black uniforms. The room buzzed with tension. High Consul Verkes stood and spoke first, his voice smooth and sweet. "Citizens of the galaxy," he said, "we gather today to heal the wounds between Earth and the Council. We offer friendship, partnership, and prosperity." He turned to Aiden with a practiced smile. "Earth's place has always been among us." Aiden stood slowly. He let a pause hang in the air. Then he spoke, his voice calm but strong. "Words mean little," he said. "It is actions that matter." Across the galaxy, screens flickered as beings leaned closer, listening. Aiden laid out Earth's demands: equal representation on the Council, protection of Earth's sovereignty, freedom for all humans across all Council worlds, punishment for past abuses by Council members. No more empty promises, no more false respect, real change or no deal. The Council delegation murmured nervously. Some ambassadors looked furious, others looked embarrassed. High Consul Verkes' smile cracked slightly. He tried to threaten gently. "If Earth refuses our generous offer," he said, "you will find yourself alone, vulnerable." Aiden's eyes flashed with quiet fire. "Alone, we built ships that outfly yours," he said. "Alone, we built defenses you cannot break. We are not afraid of standing alone." The words rang across the hall, firm and clear. The galaxy heard. The Council heard, even Verkes heard. And deep down he knew Aiden was not bluffing. There was a long silence. Finally Verkes lowered his head slightly. "We accept your terms," he said. It was not said with grace. It was said with defeat. Cheers broke out in some parts of the hall. Others remained silent, stunned. Aiden did not smile. He simply nodded. Earth had not begged. Earth had not surrendered. Earth had forced the galaxy to see them as equals. As the meeting ended, Aiden turned and walked away, his cape flowing behind him. The camera drones followed, capturing the image that would be seen for centuries. One man, one world, standing firm against a galaxy. The new treaty was signed 3 days later on Earth, under the wide skies of Geneva. It was a simple ceremony, but it carried deep meaning. But Aiden Cross stood at the center, dressed in a formal Earth uniform. Beside him were Earth's leaders, proud and solemn. Across from them stood the council representatives, their expressions tight but polite. The treaty document was displayed on a crystal screen. Every article had been carefully written. Every word weighed. Earth would have full voting rights on the Galactic Council. Earth's laws would remain independent. Any attacks or mistreatment against humans would be considered acts of war against Earth itself. There would be no more second-class citizens, no more exploitation, no more empty promises. One by one, the Council ambassadors placed their seals on the treaty. Then Aiden placed Earth's seal at the bottom. The screen glowed bright gold, confirming the agreement. Cheers erupted across Earth's cities. Flags waved, bells rang. Families hugged, soldiers saluted, and children looked to the stars with hope. The galaxy had changed. Inside the ceremony hall, Aiden shook hands with High Consul Vurex. The handshake was stiff, forced, but it was real. "You have won much today, Commander Cross," Vurex said softly. Aiden replied, just as soft, "We didn't win. We earned what should have always been ours: respect." Later, in the newly formed Earth Embassy at the Council Station, humans worked alongside aliens as equals. New trade agreements were signed. Joint research centers opened. Earth's engineers taught and learned. Earth's fleets helped patrol trade routes, bringing peace and security. But this time it was by choice, not by command. Earth was no longer the young, struggling world that others could push around. It was a leader, a builder, a force for change. In a private ceremony later that night, the President of Earth awarded Aiden Cross the Star of Humanity, the highest honor ever given. "You led us through darkness," the President said. "You gave us a future." Aiden said little. He felt the weight of the journey, of the choices made, of the sacrifices endured. He only hoped that future generations would understand what freedom truly cost, and why it was worth everything. Outside, the stars shined brighter than ever. The galaxy was vast. The challenges were many. But for the first time in centuries, humanity faced it with pride, unity, and strength. Weeks after the treaty was signed, Earth was alive with hope and energy. New projects started across the world. Cities grew taller and cleaner. Children learned about other planets in school, not as distant dreams but as reachable futures. Scientists launched new ships toward unexplored stars. Farmers traded goods with distant colonies. For the first time, humanity was not just surviving. They were thriving. Commander Aiden Cross walked through the Earth Embassy on the Council's central station. It was busy, full of humans and aliens working together. No longer were humans treated with suspicion or contempt. Now they were respected partners. And sometimes even leaders. Aiden paused in front of a wide window overlooking space. Beyond the stars, Earth glowed like a blue gem. Ambassador Tava from Olari, the wise elder, approached quietly. "You have changed everything, Commander Cross," she said. Aiden smiled slightly. "Humanity changed itself," he replied. "We just remembered who we are." Tava nodded, her silver eyes soft. "The galaxy needed you to remember." Later that evening, Aiden returned to Earth. He stood on a quiet hill overlooking New Geneva, the new heart of the world government. The city shimmered with lights. Airships floated lazily overhead. Children played in the parks. Families laughed, no longer worried about war or fear of alien oppression. The air smelled fresh. The ground felt firm under his boots. Aiden thought about everything they had endured. The years of mockery, the long struggle for respect, the lonely months after they walked away, the fierce fight for dignity. He thought about the choice they had made, the harder path, but the right one. Above him, the stars stretched forever, endless and full of promise. Humanity's future was no longer chained to old fears. It was built on strength, courage, and the unbreakable will to stand tall. Aiden closed his eyes for a moment, breathing in the cool night air. The hardest part was over. The journey was just beginning. He smiled and whispered into the wind. "Now, we build something better." The stars seemed to blink back at him in agreement.